Have you ever wondered how far one would go for love? How much one would sacrifice for their heart's desire? Picture a tale spun from the quill of the master storyteller himself, William Shakespeare. A tale that takes us back in time, to a place where star-crossed lovers dared to defy destiny. Our story introduces us to Romeo and Juliet, two young hearts from feuding families, bound together by an unstoppable force, love. They live in a world where their love is forbidden, yet their hearts refuse to obey. A world where their names are a curse, yet they whisper them in the quiet of the night. A world that wants to pull them apart, yet they hold on, tighter than ever. Their love story is not one of candlelit dinners and stolen kisses. No, theirs is a story of courage, of sacrifice, and of a love so profound that it dared to defy the boundaries of life itself. This is the story of a love so profound, it defied the boundaries of life itself. In fair Verona, where our story unfolds, two households, both alike in dignity, were locked in an ancient feud. The Montagues and the Capulets, two families whose animosity ran as deep as the roots of Verona's oldest olive tree. Each family, proud and stubborn, refused to bury the hatchet, and this rivalry cast a heavy shadow over the city, a shadow that reached even the youngest of hearts. In the midst of this chaos, we meet our heroes, Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet. Romeo, a young man with a heart as vast as the Italian skies, and Juliet, a maiden as radiant as the morning sun. Two souls born under feuding stars, yet destined to find each other. On one fateful night, under the guise of a masquerade, their paths crossed. Romeo, entranced by a vision of beauty across the dance floor, was drawn to Juliet like a moth to a flame. Juliet, equally smitten, found in Romeo a kindred spirit, a beacon of love in a sea of hatred. Their eyes met, two galaxies colliding in a universe divided by family crests. Words were shared, whispers that danced on the edge of their lips, each syllable a testament to their burgeoning affection. It was a love that bloomed in the most unlikely of places, a love that dared to challenge the norms. But this was no ordinary love, no fleeting infatuation. This was a love that consumed them, a love as potent as the finest Veronan wine. They were drawn to each other, two halves of the same heart, bound by a connection that transcended their families' disputes. As the night waned, Romeo and Juliet, amidst stolen glances and secret smiles, made a silent promise, a promise of love, a promise of unity, a promise of defiance against the world that sought to separate them. Knowing nothing but their names and their love, they vowed to be together, no matter the cost. In the secrecy of a holy place, they exchanged vows and rings, pledging their lives to each other. In a world where their love was forbidden, Romeo and Juliet found refuge in the presence of Friar Lawrence. A man of faith, he believed in the power of love to heal old wounds, to mend feuds that had run too deep and too long. In a hushed ceremony, away from the prying eyes of Verona, the young lovers made their promises. They promised to love, to cherish, to hold each other close, even when the world threatened to tear them apart. Their hands trembled, their hearts pounded, but their resolve never wavered. Love, they decided, was a risk worth taking. Friar Lawrence, with a hopeful heart, performed the rites, weaving their destinies together. He dreamed, as they did, of a day when Montagues and Capulets would break bread, not swords. Their hearts now bound, they dreamed of a life free from the shackles of their surnames. But fate, as cruel as it is unpredictable, had other plans. Our tale now takes a bitter turn, as the sweet joy of Romeo and Juliet's secret nuptials is overshadowed by a series of tragic events. The honeyed taste of love is replaced by the bitter gall of despair, and our star-crossed lovers find themselves ensnared in a web of ill fortune, spun by the cruel hands of fate itself. First, we find ourselves in the midst of a duel, a clash of pride and honor between Mercutio, Romeo's dear friend, and Tybalt, Juliet's hot-blooded cousin. As swords clash and tempers flare, the air thick with tension, the unthinkable happens. Mercutio falls, the victim of Tybalt's blade. Enraged by the loss of his dear friend, Romeo, blinded by grief, challenges Tybalt and slays him, thus staining his hands with the blood of his wife's kin. The consequences of this act are swift and severe. Romeo, now a murderer in the eyes of Verona, is banished. With a heavy heart and a heavier burden of guilt, he departs, leaving behind his new bride, his love, his Juliet. Their wedding night becomes their farewell, a bittersweet memory tainted by the harsh reality of their situation. Meanwhile, Juliet, still reeling from the shock of her husband's banishment, is dealt another blow. Her parents, oblivious to her secret marriage, arrange for her to wed Paris, a wealthy and well-respected nobleman. Juliet is trapped, ensnared in a web of her family's expectations and her heart's desire. And yet, in the face of such adversity, their love remains steadfast, undying. They refuse to let their love story end in tragedy, to let their flame of hope be extinguished by the cold winds of despair. Driven to desperation, they hatched a plan to escape their family's clutches and be together. And so, our tale continues, a testament to the enduring power of love in the face of adversity. Their plan, as beautifully tragic as their love, was destined for doom. As the sun set on the city of Verona, the universe conspired against our star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet. In their desperate attempt to be together, they fell prey to a cruel twist of fate. Romeo, believing Juliet to be dead, consumed poison and died by her side. Juliet, waking up to find her beloved dead, chose to join him in death rather than live without him. Their untimely deaths were a shock to Verona, a city already torn apart by the feud between the Montagues and Capulets. But from this tragedy, a silver lining emerged. The death of their children served as a wake-up call for the feuding families. In their grief, they saw the destructive power of their hatred, leading to a long-awaited reconciliation. Romeo and Juliet's tragic end is not just a tale of love lost, but a powerful narrative on the destructive consequences of hatred and the transformative power of love. It's a story that transcends time and space, resonating with audiences across the globe and through the centuries. The cultural and literary impact of Romeo and Juliet is profound. The themes of love, fate, and sacrifice explored in the story have inspired countless adaptations and interpretations. From operas and ballets to films and novels, the tale of Romeo and Juliet has been retold in countless forms, each adding a unique perspective to the timeless narrative. The story's enduring popularity is a testament to its universal appeal. It reminds us of the power of love, the inevitability of fate, and the depth of human sacrifice. It forces us to confront the destructive nature of hatred and the lengths to which we are willing to go for love. Thus, Romeo and Juliet, a tale of love and tragedy, continues to echo through the corridors of time, reminding us of the power of love and the price of hatred.